trying to rip apart some Premier League signings, and they deserve to be ripped. It's the worst signings of the season, Jason Rubin. There is a few candidates. I have mine, but I know you want to get to yours. Someone who, let's just say, his stock has plummeted worse than the 2008 financial crisis. Wilfried Bony.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So, understandably, first things first, Wilfried Bony is somebody who I very much enjoyed watching in World Cups, in big stages, and even at Manchester City. Then he makes his move to Stoke, and he just looks completely out of shape.
He doesn't look interested.
He doesn't look interested. He also, I feel, maybe we don't know something. Maybe Stoke is doing something to the man. Maybe he's not, maybe there's nothing to do in the town. I don't know what it is, but his desire to play looks like it's just fallen by the wayside, and now he's linked to a £12 million move to China. And maybe it's just change of scenery, because I'd like to see him come back. But that's somebody that Stoke was bringing in to help on the scoring front, to really, I guess, put somebody of, at one point, Premier status, or in the same conversation at points. I'm not going to overrate Boney completely, in the Premier stat, and obviously to help them with the goal differential, get them on the scoring front, and it just didn't work out. That happens, obviously, but from a player who could have brought a lot of life to Stoke, he ended up bringing them down even more so.
It's happened twice now. I mean, the first move, I get it, because it happens to how many players? When you had someone that moved after, he came in with such a huge impact, he turned things around at Swansea. He was part of that full team that was phenomenal. They had a hard working ethic. He was hunting the ball. He was just a nightmare for defenders. But he gave up all of those fundamentals. It's not like people needed him to score. He's a big body, and he causes problems. He can work off of other players. I think he just gave that up at Man City.
Now he looks like a big, kind of out-of-shape body.
He doesn't look like he wants to play. He doesn't look like he wants to put in the effort. And that's where Manchester City didn't find a use for him. He was signed for Man City. If he thought to himself, who's that guy that plays up front for them again? Sergio Aguero.
He's not going to play half the season.
They like to play a 4-5-1. I'm going to go in and I'm going to take his place. It's fine if he's that optimistic, but realistically, somewhere he must have thought, I need to be a useful second-string player. And even when he was used at second-string, he wasn't useful. He scored an odd goal here and there, but he should have been coming in, bombarding defenders, causing all sorts of mayhem, and really creating a problem. And then he went to Stoke and he's fell flat in his face.
The other one that I've seen a lot of headlines about, Lucas Perez, has had a rough
He's had a weird transition at Arsenal.
Might just take more time, but...
Yeah, he's another player that comes in. I'm not going to categorise him the worst yet because, again, we've just seen him come in. Like, Bonnie's done this several times where we're like, all right, it's made right now, and we're expecting it. Perez came in, and a lot of people doubted it because you have Giroud, who's hot and cold, and when he's hot, but when he's not, you've not got anyone else to step in. Like, Theo Walcott has become the go-to striker with Sanchez pitching in with some goals. So when they signed Perez for that amount of money, I'm thinking, that's not a confident signing. It seems to me like it was rushed when we were putting all the pressure as the media. Everyone, Arsenal fans were like, we need to sign someone, and then they just threw millions out, and they got a great signing in Mustafi, and then Perez hasn't really been able to thrive. But he scored some goals in the recent Champions League game. He got a hat-trick. But again, we need to see it consistently in the Premier League to know that it works. But my worst at the moment, it's between two. There's two that are right neck and neck. So very similar to what I mentioned there with Perez, except I've watched this guy enough to be like, he was never worth the money, is Sissoko going to Tottenham. He had a decent 2 games, or a good 2 games in the Euros. And that was enough to get him, Jason, the same amount of money moved,
40?
Valued at the same as N'Golo Kante.
40 million?
And yeah, and he went, 30 million, sorry. And he went
30.
to Tottenham Hotspur, a team that was on the up, third in the Premier League last year, needed to add some real quality players in order to push further forward. And they splashed the cash on Sissoko, and he's just been mediocre. He's just been really mediocre. But even with that, he's not my worst. He's right there next to Batshuayi, a player that came into Chelsea, ridiculous amount of money. So far this season, I have seen nada. That might be because Diego Costa is playing so well. But when you come in with that amount of money, you need to show me something. When he has the opportunity, he now gets the opportunity. Whenever this clip goes up, he might have already scored a hat-trick because Diego Costa is suspended. So he will get a chance to step in. But this is a guy that I watched in the Euros as well, and I didn't think he was all that great. I thought Lukaku was a better player than him, to be honest. But he's came in with a huge amount of expectation. He might not be getting enough of a chance, but when Diego Costa was going through a little transition at the start, he had an opportunity, he didn't take it. So with that value, he's right there with one of my worst so far. He could change things around. but I think we've made 3 good calls here. Bony,
I agree.
Sissoko, Batshuayi. There's other players in there that you could mention, someone that maybe not even have been able to play so far. I know there's a case for Zaza over at West Ham.
There is a case for Zaza.
We don't. There's some players that have just barely even been able to play enough that we can't make a choice. So I'm sure you have yours. Hit us in the comments. Who's your worst signing of the Premier League season so far? Don't hold back. If you disagree with ours, don't hold back either. Rip us apart. My pocket square. Nah, you can't even slag my pocket square. It's too good. Bounty here. Peace.